Hey, this is week 9 Fretboard Roadmap, and we are working on the D shapes. We've worked on C, A, G, E, and now we're going to do the last of the system. And we're going to spend a good amount of time reviewing all the shapes up the neck in the key of C, just so that we can view it as a whole system. So thanks to one of the students that has been pretty engaged in this course, Benjamin, we'll be using some of the diagrams that he provided in addition to the tablature that comes with the course. This will help you see the neck map really, really clearly. So thanks again to Benjamin for providing those. It's been great. Right off the bat, we have a question from Condors. Question: with these scales, we are learning, will every key have 3 majors, 3 minors, and 1 diminished? And does that correlate with the patterns we are doing directly? Please explain if I don't have this right. Excuse me. And does this go along with modes? This, Condors, is a better question for modes. It's not necessarily 3 major scales or 3 minor scales. It's 3 basically major or 3 basically minor. But we cover that in depth in modes, which is actually the course after this, that starts at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So I can get more into that during the modes course. I'd love to do that. But it's a good question. Basically what Condors is asking about is the different basically major or basically minor scales that the modes are attributed to. So let's put that one on hold until the modes course, which is later, and let's get into our D shapes. We start on the D string, 10th fret. Now, these are the D shapes. We're in the key of C. Just remember that. We're starting here because this is the root that the position is based off of. But you'll see a cool similarity between this scale and one of the 3 in a string scales you may have already learned. So here we go. 10, 12, 9, 10, 12, 10, 12, 13, 10, 12, 13. And then back down. Twelve, 10, 8. 12, 10, 8. Okay, so you notice this root is an octave lower than this root. We're starting here because it outlines what you'll see in the arpeggio soon, although you could make a case for it being here as well. Let me start it. I'll play it again. I'll start from this root, and then I'll go all the way back down, and then all the way back up. And you'll see the similarity. This is your 3 on a string scale starting from G. They're starting on G, if you remember that. Condors asks, why do some people show the CAGED pattern slightly different than yours? There really is no right answer. It's a way of organizing. It's kind of like, why does someone organize their socks in their sock drawer differently? I'd say there maybe is a little bit more guidelines than that. But the CAGED system is a way of organizing patterns of notes. And there are different ways. I mean, you can play scales really an infinite number of ways on the guitar. But the way that I have arranged them does borrow a little bit more from the 3-in-a-string patterns than some of the other curriculum out there. And that's intentional because this course initially used the 3-in-a-string scales in order to map the neck when we did the first edition of this. And so I tried to do some sort of cross teaching there so that everybody could see how those things are related to one another. That's mainly why. All right, scale. All the way down. Now, here's the chord. Ten, 12, 13, 12. Great shape. It's a great shape. And measure 10, here's the arpeggio. Which also follows that 3-in-a-string pattern nicely. Again, the arpeggio slow. Now, you can see how these overlap with the E shapes. You know, here's the E arpeggio. Down the D arpeggio. They share the lower half, which is totally fine. Remember, it's just about knowing what's accessible. I love that shape. And then go down the C even. It's great to be able to know these. What's the best way to sweep this arpeggio? I love to do something like this. I usually do this in a rake form, and it looks like this. So I start here. A little riff like that. You get all those notes in there. Downstroke right there. And then you're sweeping down. Lots of cool consecutive picking ways to work that arpeggio. C shape. I also like to go up this to rake this as a sus chords, and then sweep back down the C shape, as opposed to just doing this, which also sounds cool. It's just a different way of approaching it. Good questions. Thank you. So I don't do the 5th string. Yeah, I'll sweep this portion here, or down upstrokes, and there. So it's kind of two different ways of working it, right? Like you've got this part on the way up, like that. E shape, D shape. Very closely intertwined. Okay. Thanks for the questions, Condors. Now, here's the pentatonic position. Starting from the very bottom this time. 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, 12, 9, 12, 10, 13, 10, 12. Again. A couple times there. So it's kind of neat. You look at the arpeggio here. And, up the arpeggio, down the pentatonic pattern. So there's the arpeggio, or there's the pentatonic. So let's go through all the patterns again. Scale. This is measure 1. Scale again, one more time. Chord. Arpeggio. Arpeggio again. This is measure 11, or measure 10, 11, 12, and 13. And the pentatonics pattern, measure 14. I like this because it's got all three of the low strings are played the same. Arpeggio. Okay. So there's a review of the basic shapes. And now we're going to look at all of the shapes of the whole neck. That's going to help us sort of contextualize what we just learned and see how everything is connected. Now that we know all the shapes, this is really a cool thing to do. Looks like we've got another question. What's your go-to shape when composing? Vincent asks. And should I take more time to learn one pattern in particular than another? Is there a shape that's better suited for minor type stuff? Another for major? Great questions. You know, I don't know that I have a single go-to shape. Every single one of them has things that I use all the time. You know, like, but if I had to pick some things that maybe I use a little bit more often, certainly the G shape pentatonic pattern, you know, I use that one most out of all the different pentatonic patterns. Also the C shape arpeggio I use a ton. But that bleeds into so many other, when I do that, it bleeds into so many other things. You know, I'll do runs like this. You know, and that's a combination between the C shape and the D shape and the E shape. You know, I'll go down there. So I take pieces of them. You know? I love the pentatonic pattern we just learned today. You know, and I use the C-shaped pentatonic pattern quite a bit. But I'm not sure there's like a single go-to shape, and I think that the power in this comes with not isolating the shapes, but understanding how to work with them in a seamless sort of fashion, right? Like you saw me just go through, you know, I start here, then I go here, and I'm borrowing from the different shapes. That's where the power really is. So I would say rather than working on like really perfecting one shape, and that's really what this lesson today is about, is map the neck. Figure out what's accessible, because, you know, you might like the top half of the C shape a ton, but, you know, there's that E shape that's really awesome, you know, so being able to, you know, being able to do even simple stuff like that is amazing. You know, you're just taking two different shapes and you can see how they're mapped instantly. Helps so much with improv. I mean, if you just look at simple chords based off of the you know, we've got this, we've got this, got this, you know, and all of that just based off of knowing your fundamental arpeggio shapes and triads that lie within those main shapes. That's where the strength really is. Good question. Okay. Make sure I got that whole question. Is there a shape better suited for minor or major? I'd say the E shape. You know, if you want to make that one minor. Or the C shape, you know, the minor version of the C shape arpeggio. Is a great, one of my favorite little riffs to do, licks, and actually there's going to be a course coming up that details some of these, but I like to do I'll just show you guys this real quick, it's kind of fun. I like to do a major 7 sort of thing. So we're in the key of in B minor. So this is a major 7, a D major 7 chord that's based off of the E shape. So based off of a D chord, E shape, but I'm playing remember we did this. I'm taking this root and lowering it to a 7. And then I come down here and hit the B root. So this makes it a B minor 7. So I do that. And then I go up a whole step and walk down the C shape minor. But I start here. So I get some of those other neat sounds. And I go like this. Just a neat way to... And then I go up, you know, you can come up to the D arpeggio. And, you know, and then going down a pentatonic pattern. So there's so many different cool ways to combine things so that they sound amazing. All right, I got a few questions there, so we'll check in here. Let's see. Do you have any riff ideas that use multiple shapes like the one you're doing now that you could share in Guitar Pro? I'm actually developing a course that's going to do that. So be patient. There's a course in the works that that's really going to combine. You know, we learned all these shapes. Now we really want to do fun things just like this. So consider this a preview. Consider this a small preview of what's to come. Okay, great questions. We've reviewed the D shapes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a C drone. I'm just going to have the drone on in the background, and I'm going to go through the shapes. And I'm going to have this tone. And I'm going to have a note map up for you to see, courtesy of Benjamin. Here are the scales. We're going to start with the scales, and then we're going to go to the chords, and then we're going to go to the arpeggios, and then we're just going to do whatever I feel like, up and down, but I'll announce what shape I'm using. So similar to what I just did. So here is the C drone. Here is, well, you know what, I think, yeah, I guess we'll do this. Go over the patterns first here. C. Oh, those are the pentatonics. Let me get to the scale. Scale. Here we go. That was the C shape, right up here. Now here's the A shape. Shape. Third one down. And next we're going to go for the E shape. Finally, the very end here, the D shape. All right, let's look at the arpeggios. And rather than going sequentially on these, I'm going to go, we're going to just do full cam here, and I'm just going to announce what I'm playing. C shape. A shape. G shape. E shape. I love the top end of this one. Oops. And finally the D shape arpeggio. And then up to the C shape again. Okay, we're going to go from the C shape to the D shape, to the E shape, to the G shape, to the A shape, to the C shape. So we went backward. Now let's work on the pentatonic patterns. C shape. D shape. Okay. G shape. E shape. E shape. G shape. A shape. C shape. D shape. E-shape arpeggio. D-shape pentatonic. C-shape arpeggio. D-shape arpeggio. E-shape. G-shape. D-shape. This would be the A-shape pentatonic. Here's kind of a fun thing to do. Take the pentatonic pattern from lower on the neck, like let's say this pattern, and then combine it with the pentatonic pattern from up here. That use tapping to get there. So I'll dial up my gain just a little bit more here. So check it out. So we've got even taking, so you got this part and this part. Or these notes. So it'd be those notes. So lots of fun there. I mean, I hope you saw just a little bit of how you can take all these shapes, and I'm gonna do a little bit more here in a minute, but you can take all these shapes and put them together with both hands if you want. Let's check in with some questions. Oh, okay, that was a leftover question from earlier. Yes, stay tuned. There will be more specific stuff like this in the coming courses. Any other questions or comments? Anything else that I can address? I'm going to continue to improvise over the drone, only we're going to change keys now. We're going to go to the key of G. And I'll just call out what I'm doing. And please, if there are any questions, don't hesitate to ask. All right. Get a drink here and then we'll get started. So here's G. So I'm on, there's a G. What two shapes are available on the G? We got a C shape, and we've got the A shape. I like doing that with that shape. Taking, so we go to the root or the major 7. It's the A-shape pentatonic. That was actually a D shape based off of a D chord, which is in the key of G major, and then resolved to G. So that's another awesome, you know. All over the drone, you're just taking that shape and moving it around in ways that make sense within a major key. go to our 6th string roots. E shape. D shape, our pentatonic. Shape. Up to C shape. E shape. Here's another kind of cool thing to try. Start with the E shape and then move to the D shape. So there, what I'm doing is taking portions of each shape based off of just these strings, the D and the G strings. So if we go, we have this out of the E shape, we have this out of the D shape, and then if we go, so we have the E shape, then we have the D shape, and then we have the C shape. So these notes combined with these notes from the D shape. So we have this ability to walk up on this string, or on these strings. Pretty neat. We could do that even more. So that's from the C shape as well. And then in here on the high G. So we can technically, you know, as long as we know how to navigate from shape to shape, that's the key. So an infinite number of uses, an infinite number of ways to combine. I hope that you see, granted I'm not giving you tabbed out examples at this point, but I hope that you see the power behind really being able to navigate between the positions. That's where everything really starts to come together. Couple questions here. Yes, GPX files. All I can say is I'm excited too. I'm excited to give you a planned out. It's based around technique, but it's also based around finding these little nuggets, scale fragments. When you map out a neck, and you do it with these patterns all over the place, sometimes it can be really hard to get out of the patterns. And so that's what this next course that I'm going to be presenting in the late summer, early fall is really going to work with. I did change keys to G for this last example. Is that the amp you're using in the background? No. This is an amp I did use for a series that I filmed here for Jam Play a few weeks ago. I just have it on because the light is neat. He's talking about this one here. Using Kettner Tubemeister 18. I really like it. I'll probably be using it more, but we're going to be giving it away for our 4th of July sale. So it's just keeping me company for now. Off topic, but relevant with your playing. Have you ever made a speed building course? No. Well, not. My Phase 2 does have some technique stuff in it. No. I don't know if I'm the right one to teach speed building. Guys like Alan Van Wert are, but one of the courses that I am also in the work that I'm also planning that's in the works, I'm loosely calling it drills, and it's not necessarily speed, but it is focusing on different aspects of technique in a musical way. So that's another one I'm working on as well. So I'm excited about that one. So drills, and then I don't know what the other one's called. Scale fragments. Usually the title is the last. Sometimes I don't even think of the title. Most of the time I don't think of the title. Most of the time I come up with the content, and then one of the other guys on the Jam Play staff goes, "Hey, what about this title?" And oh, okay. But that's the general direction that I'm hoping the late summer and early fall will go with these courses. How do I recommend practicing shapes to improve musicianship and ear training? Good question. Just like you saw me do right then with those drones. The drones should be available in the supplemental content of this course. And then next week we're going to be creating with the D shape, well, really creating with all of the shapes. But if you go back and you watch the archives in this course, we've alternated learning new shapes and then creating with the shapes. And really that's the best way to be musical with them. Create with them. Doing the drones is great, but creating like you've seen me do every other week is a fantastic way to do this. Fantastic. How about a course on playing with feeling? Phrasing. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. Particularly with improv, I would imagine. You know, we've done quite a bit in the Modal Melodies course with, you know, dissecting melody and composing with melody, coming up with good phrases. So definitely check out that from that angle if you get a chance. But I agree. A course specifically on phrasing would be really nice. Well, guys, thank you so much. Next week is the 4th of July. We're not meeting next week because it's the 4th of July. We'll be meeting the week after for the final week of Fretboard Roadmap Caged Edition. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for the interaction and the questions. We'll see you guys 2 weeks from today.